My name is Jorge Palacios. I am the Migration Coordinator for Youth Engagement. Thank you for joining us for this portion of Posadas, where we are going to make a drink. This is a drink called a Cantarito. It is a traditional Mexican drink. Normally it's served in a specialized glass or cup, a mug, made of clay and usually like painted and decorated. Lots of things are served in these mugs because they retain temperature very well. So, being made of, sort of raw clay that's just been baked and then glazed afterwards is a pretty traditional sort of looking thing, and you'll see that here in a second. But these drinks are, this is something similar to like a margarita or paloma, if you're familiar with that. It uses similar ingredients. This is one of the ways in which we like to celebrate this time of year. There's a lot of food and drinks normally associated with Posadas. Tamales are one, of course, and champurrado, which is it's a chocolate drink made with atole, which is a corn or maize, based drink. So it's a chocolate corn drink. It's a thick hot chocolate is one way of thinking about it. It's really, really delicious. I decided to go something that would be maybe a little bit easier for anyone to sort of make from home. We're only going to use a handful of ingredients. We're going to use lemon juice and lime juice. If you can only find one, that's totally fine. In that case, I would just say double that, whichever one you have, but I like to use both. It's going to include also orange juice as well as grapefruit soda. Of course, also going to do something special for mine. I'm going to rim it with tajin. You can also do a salt rim if you wanted. So let's go ahead and get started. So these are the Cantaritos. I got these from a little Mexican grocer that's just down the road from me. They're very clearly hand-painted, handmade. Though these are a little bit more uniform in size, so wouldn't be surprised if they weren't exactly handmade. That's totally fine. But you can see that they're made of clay. So I've been soaking this for about 10 minutes before I started making my drink. I just dumped out my water in my sink, and we're gonna fill it with ice. And I'm gonna use my hands because I'm gonna be drinking this, but I like to fill this up pretty far up with ice. I think it tends to keep the drink a little bit cold. I know these Cantaritos really tend to hold temperature really well, so filling it with ice is going to keep this nice and cold while I drink it. And this is something you can definitely sip on for quite a while. So I am going to... So, just so you can see, I filled it almost the entire way up with ice. So, first ingredient for this is actually going to be orange juice. We're going to use 1 ounce of orange juice. I have this tiny cute little measuring cup that I'm going to use. And this is probably going to hold a double, so I'm going to use 2, but at home, feel free to just use 1. Next, I'm going to use, next I'm going to use a lemon. I want about half an ounce of lemon juice. I'm also going to want same part of lime juice. Like I said, if you can only get 1 for whatever reason, it's totally fine. Just use a whole ounce of whatever citrus you use. So I'm going to use both. cut this. So I want a half an ounce. So it's about a quarter, or about a quarter of my lemon was a half an ounce. I'm gonna try to keep the seeds from going out, going into the drink. And I think that's gonna be about half of my lime. Again, I'm making doubles. So I actually want a whole ounce of all of this, but again, the recipe will call for just half. So, added my citrus, and just for the record, you can make this in a highball glass. You can make this in any tall glass that you feel. I am using a Cantarito because it's traditional and it's what I have. But if you don't have this, and you can't buy one or you don't want to spend the money, that's totally fine. Any highball glass will work. So now we've added our citrus, we've added our orange juice. We just have 2 more ingredients. The first is tequila. For something like this, right, I'd use 2 ounces of tequila. We have 2 ounces of orange, lime, and lemon juice in here. Yeah, so let's go ahead and use some tequila. So I'm gonna want 2 ounces of this tequila. Since I'm making a double, I'm actually gonna add 4 ounces. But the recipe calls for, the regular size recipe calls for 2. And this is definitely a cocktail that you can make batched also if you really wanted. Say you had a holiday party and you wanted to give people something a little bit different for that. This could definitely be an option. Okay. And then the last ingredient is going to be this grapefruit soda. I really like the Cantaritos. You can use Squirt, you can use Fresca. I also know that like grocery stores have their own brand of grapefruit soda. If for whatever reason, maybe you want to go a little bit healthier, like a club soda with maybe a little bit of grapefruit juice would be perfect. If you have fresh grapefruit, maybe you can add like a half an ounce or an ounce of that instead, and then just top with seltzer water or club soda. I think if you wanted something that maybe is not as sugar concentrated, you could even go with something like the grapefruit flavored seltzer waters, so like LaCroix or what have you. So I'm gonna add this to the top, and that is gonna be my drink. And I like to just fill it to the top. The lip keeps it kind of nice and from falling out. So yeah, this is my Posadas Cantarito. You can add a little bit of salt to it to give it a nice little flavor. You could use a spoon at the very end before you add the grapefruit juice to mix all of the ingredients together. The last thing that you can do is, of course, you can garnish this with an orange slice on the rim. I'm gonna just cut a little notch into the orange so that it sits on the lip. And there you go! Posadas Cantarito. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a really wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. And yeah, thank you. That's good.